Fresh out the boat in the promised land, 24 hours, got a gun in my hand.
We've now moved to a different location. During the transition, we stopped in at main camp and were able to admire one of the rams from one of the other hunters in camp and hear his awesome story. I also had the chance to grab a rifle from one of the other guides in camp for the rest of the hunt. And after a discussion with the guys, we all decided it would be nice to have along.
Contract paying for some men to be dead, paid me silver to fix it with lead. Thoughts are circling overhead, there's a number to mind their song. Covered in blood and I only see red, living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Live by the gun and you're gonna die young.
After a couple of days of hiking, we started to find sheep. This was an epic location, my favorite of the entire hunt. We were set up in a saddle where the sheep would use to transition from basin to basin. It didn't allow for much stalking cover, but we had the wind in our favor and figured if we were patient enough, a ram would eventually move through.
Son, you live by the gun and you're gonna die young.
Rushed down the mountain here, and now we got a ram. The lead ram is 300 yards out. We're still feeling hopeful with the bow, but we have started packing a rifle. We're halfway through the hunt, so I'd like to say I can come back, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to. So when you get here and you start bringing in all these factors, you're on the mountain and you're living it, things come to light that you don't think of when you're at home. And so although we're going to keep hammering here with the bow, it is reassuring to have Dustin packing a rifle as well. But we're going to give it hell. We've been close enough. We can do it. It just takes time, and that's what it really comes down to. Are we going to have enough time to be patient enough? And that's what you just don't know. It's big country. You can't force moves. You can't force the weather. You can't force the sheep to be where you want them to be, and sometimes that's just not conducive to bow hunting. So days have been melting away just waiting for rams to get to where we can hunt them. Looks like we're gonna move again.
A small hit of dopamine floods in my bloodstream. A notification calls me to act now. Constant distractions divert my attention to the fact that I'm no longer happy somehow.
This ram was coming our way quickly, and we were kind of caught in the open. Everything had to pretty much go perfectly for this to come together. Dustin was enough ahead of me, he could see the ram before I could, and I just totally misread the situation in the moment.
No, sit up. Okay. He's right there. Sit up and shoot him. I heard you saying he's right there, but I couldn't tell what you were saying.
Getting one person into position is tough. 3 is even tougher. But that one was on me, and I knew it.
Well, a little miscommunication there. That ram came up at 35 yards. In this high wind, Dustin couldn't talk. I couldn't hear him. He was saying, get up and shoot him. I thought he was saying, get up here and shoot him. We had an awesome start to our morning today. We woke up and stuck the camera out the tent flap, and there was a young ram at about 35 yards just watching us. I was able to film him. He was right on our spot and mountain. So I believe that that means it's going to be a really good day in sheep country. They've all been good days, but I think that's a little bit extra special start. I'll take it.
All we could really do was hang out and wait. We knew there was more rams in the basin somewhere, that were good rams. This camp was incredible though, and I couldn't think of anywhere else I'd rather be.
This is the most beautiful morning we've had. Virtually no wind. Can feel some heat from the sun finally. So we know the sheep are probably feeling the same thing and are hopefully going to kind of soak it up this morning and then get a little more active this afternoon. So we're hoping they're going to come off that mountain you can see behind me and drop through this saddle and come right around the hill here below camp, which has been a pretty common travel pattern for the sheep we've seen move through this specific drainage. So we feel good. We've got some days left. We've got the sheep on the right side of us for hunting them. And we are just loving our time here. Waited 5 years to be here. Got canceled twice due to COVID. Couldn't get to Canada. The world lost its mind. But we're here, and this is incredible. I'm just soaking it up as best I can.
Where the pavement ends, on X begins.
Kind of frustrating.
Yeah. 2 mountains over now. We thought they were probably just bedded right on the backside of this ridge right here. We've been being patient, and Dustin just spotted them the next mountain over, which is 2 valleys. We were pretty happy with this camp spot right here, but it's looking like we might have to move now.
I think that's the best way to go. Get over to the next mountain.
Yeah, they seem to be spending their time over there.
Let's pack up.
All right.
Time for another grind.
Yeah. Get this stuff packed up here. It kind of looks like a yard sale. It's nice to have a couple day break anyway. Back at it. Well, the rams are coming down off the backside of the hill here. So we have got our packs lightened up, put everything we don't want in the tent, and are going to make a run for it. We're going to see if we can move in with the bow. Dustin's bringing the rifle. We'll see what happens here. It's getting late enough in the hunt. Packing both just to make sure we can get the biggest, most mature ram we can find here. So it's getting exciting. There's a really white one over here that kind of flares out. And then another one that's tighter with a little broom on his right side, kind of broom back, but both of them really nice rams. So we'll see what happens when we get down the hill. It's exciting though. It's cold. Moving around. See what happens.
This thing's still heavy.
I hear ya. There wasn't a lot of cover to use moving in on these rams. We had to stay just out of sight, trying to keep tabs on them. It was working though. Slowly but surely, they were getting closer. As we started getting closer to where we figured the rams were, I tried to keep peeling off layers one at a time. I wanted to be ready for the shot, but not get soaked in the process. And taking a quiet step in this terrain is next to impossible. You just have to do the best you can. And then the rams busted us. That's when I decided to pick up the rifle for the first time on this hunt. And from there, things just started to compound. As soon as the rams crested over the hill and could no longer see us, we gathered up our stuff and took off running as fast as we could through the boulder field, which wasn't all that fast. In that moment, I felt like things started to build on themselves, and I'm sure it was all in my head. From the running and the rain and the rams getting out of there, and just kind of that feeling of knowing it was your last opportunity. It all kind of built into this one moment. And that's when I took the shot.
High.
What?
I think it was high.
370.
I was immediately upset with myself for pulling the trigger. I was breathing hard, and I just felt like I forced it. I'm not going to shoot anymore. How did I go from a bow or nothing to suddenly missing with a rifle? As we sat there in the rain and watched the rams go over the mountain, I just felt like I had completely let myself down. And I knew that Dustin and Sam were feeling it too. That next morning, we woke up to a ram right outside of our tent. And it was one of the most beautiful mornings we had had the entire hunt. Bluebird skies, not a breath of wind. And being greeted by this ram for our morning coffee was exactly what I needed to reset and get my mind right back in the game. There was still 3 days left, and this adventure had proved a lot can happen in 3 days.